Hi, this video is in response to a question that I got recently concerning an anti-Semitic claim concerning the Talmud condoning pedophilia. This is not the first time I've seen this claim, not the first time the claim has been asked of me, and over the years I have thought to prepare a response, a ready response for those people who have asked me that question. So I thought that I would compose my thoughts a little bit and make a video. A video is a little bit easier to for people to digest. This video is a rough video. I intend on recording a nicer video with more sources. So as such, please do not pass this video around. It is an unlisted link. I request that anybody I send this link to only view it. Do not share it with anybody because this, like I said, this is a rough cut. So do not share it, please. I will, as I increase and enlarge on this, I will produce something that will be a longer, better video on the topic. Okay, let's begin. Niddah 44b and pedophilia. Does the Talmud condone it? Okay, so here is the question that was offered. So the questioner says, I use the Talmud online, not some secret Talmud. Please justify the following if possible. So first of all, he uses the Talmud. So this completely ignores the fact that the Talmud is a specialized body of literature. I'm a lawyer, and I can tell you, just because one could read the U.S. Code does not mean that a person is prepared to properly apply the underlying law in the U.S. Code. Okay, so he says not some secret Talmud. Again, this is, you can already see where the person's going. There's a charge of, right, things are secret, so whatever. Please justify. So justify is the language of accusation. We have to justify ourselves if possible. So again, the questioner is framing it in the sort of accusatory terms. So he brings this Mishnah. He says, a girl of the age, by the way, this is Mishnah in the 44b in Niddah. I believe it is Mishnah 5.4 in Niddah. For the better cut video, I need to note that. Okay, note to self. A girl of the age of 3 years and 1 day may be betrothed by intercourse. Okay, so that sounds pretty shocking. And in fact, that is what the Mishnah says. There's no fabrication on their part there. And then they go on and bring the Gemara. It says, our rabbis taught, a girl of the age of 3 years may be betrothed by intercourse. So Reb Meir. But the sages say, only one who is 3 years and 1 day old. What is the practical difference between them? The school of Reb Yanai replied, the practical difference between them is the day preceding the first day of the 4th year. So again, this is really does not have anything to do with the charge. So the reason the questioner includes this is so as to continue on with the sort of synagogue of Satan trope that is rampant in Christian circles, that somehow or another the rabbis can trivialize even the worst things, and so much so to talk about whether a day makes a difference. So that is what's going on here. They're trying to, this is the only reason, because the question could have been asked without including this. He's trying to make it seem like the rabbis are trivializing this matter as if it's no big deal. Mind you, the questioner has no sense of context. No sense of context of what's going on Niddah 44, what the overarching topic is. So we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Okay, so here is the charge. The charge is pulled directly from the website that the questioner got his pull quote from. The charge. This is from the Come and See or Come and Hear website. Talmud law permits sexual intercourse between children and adults. Flat. That is the charge. That is called pedophilia. And that is precisely what they're saying here. Okay. Which, of course, would make Jews monstrous, would make the Talmudic Judaism, Torah Judaism to be monstrous, would make Jews monstrous, and of course we would well deserve the hat that they want us to wear of belonging to the synagogue of Satan. Okay, so let's go some backdrop to a few over the greater topic. So we first have to start with how was a woman betrothed. So in Condone 2a, we're told, a woman is acquired in 3 ways, i.e. she's betrothed by 3 things. These are the ways she's betrothed. Bekesef, bishtar, ubabia. With kesef, with money, she can be betrothed with a bride price or a ring, a token exchange of value. Bishtar, with the marriage document, a contract, contracting a marriage. Ubavia, and with intercourse. Okay, now bia alone is efficacious between adults. However, all these things are efficacious, whatever, but this is not, we'll get to it. So the English translation, I'm pulling these translations from Sefaria. It says, a woman is betrothed in 3 ways. She's acquired through money, through a document, and through sexual intercourse. Okay, and of course in Jewish marriage, today all 3 of these are present. We give a token, a ring, or some other token of value to the woman. A shtar, a kasuba, in which there are certain promises, financial and contractual promises made from the man, ubabia. And finally, the marriage is consummated on the wedding night. So that is, all these 3 things are present. Bia by itself is efficacious, but we will see what's going on there. Okay, with intercourse. Okay, so Condone 12b says, Niddah Amr, the people of Niddah, the rabbis of Niddah say, B'kuhu lo menagid rav ela al demekadesh b'via below shiduche. That with all of these things, there's a whole list of things that we're talking about. So this is a pull quote. He says that he would not flog a person except for one who is makadesh, a woman who betroths a woman with bia, with relations, below shiduche, without prior arrangements, meaning some standing agreement to marriage. This is going to equal marriage. Okay. And there are those that say, "V'filu b'shiduche nami mishum b'pritzusa," and even and there are those that say that even with a prior arrangement, also he would flog them mishum pritzus, licentiousness, immodest ways. Okay, here is the Sefaria translation. The sages of Niddah say, Rav would only flog one for betrothing a woman through sexual intercourse without a prior arrangement. And there are those who say, even if there was an arrangement beforehand, he would also flog a man for betrothing a woman with intercourse due to licentiousness. It's pritzus. It's not a good thing. So even though this bottom line, you could be mekadesh a woman that way, it is worthy of punishment because this is not a respectable way of doing it in Jewish circles. Okay. Fine. Let me fix this text up a little bit. Okay. Again, this is the rough edit, so bear with me. I have a question now. We talked about marriage and the ways that marriage is affected. I have a question. Can a father marry off his daughter? So Kedushin 41a says like this. Ha'ish mekadesh es bito kishehi na'ara. A man can be mekadesh his woman, when his daughter, when she is a na'ara, a young lady. Not a girl, a young lady, meaning sexually mature. Kishehi na'ara in, kishehi katana lo. Kishehi na'ara, when she's a young lady, in, yes, that's what we're talking. That's what we're talking about, the context, the case. Kishehi katana, when she's a girl, lo, no, he cannot be makadesh her. Okay, flat statement. So Messiah the Rav, this is a help to Rav, the Amar Rav Yehuda. It says Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav, say the Rav, Item Rabbi Elazar, and some say that Rabbi Elazar says like this: Asula Adam Sheyakadesh es bito kishehi katana. He says it flat again. This is a help to those those who bring this statement. It's also for a man to betroth his daughter when she is young, until she gadel, until she grows older. V'tomer, and she's able to say, Biploni ani rodze, with so and so ani rodze, I want to get married. So you're not allowed to marry off your daughter when she's a child. The young person has to be old enough to be able to say, I want to marry so and so, which means that, of course, you could have a child say that, but that is not what this means here. It means that she has a rotzon, that she has a will, she has an ability to state her in a legally meaningful manner. She has the ability to state her preferences. This is not a child saying that they prefer chocolate over vanilla. We're just talking about a legally meaningful statement of will. Okay, so we see here that it seems pretty flat that a father cannot betroth his daughter. Without her consent. Okay, let's look at what it says here in the translation from Sefaria. A man may marry off his daughter when she is a na'ara. When she is a na'ara, yes. When she is a child, no. This supports the teachings of Rav, for Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav, and there are those who say Rabbi Elazar, it is forbidden for a man to marry off his daughter when she is a child, until she grows up and says, I want to marry so-and-so. Okay, again, it has to be a legally efficacious statement of will, a statement of intent, not a child talking. Okay, so that is that. Let's look further. Niddah 13b. Tana Rabbanan, we have a statement over here saying that, again, saying this is not a good thing. Tana Rabbanan, Hagerim, yeah, we know that term, Mesachin Betinochos, and those who, this is a euphemism, who play with young people, with young girls, with babies, toddlers, young girls, Ma'akven es HaMashiach. They delay the coming of the Mashiach. Okay, so I left this part in just for interest's sake. Bishlema Gerim. So it goes well with Gerim. Because of, it's like what Reb Chelbo said. It's a famous statement. What does he say? To Amar Reb Chelbo, he says, Kashin Gerim li Yisrael kisapachas. That Gerim are hard for Israel like a sapachas. Okay, that is a like a scab or some sort of boil. That is a famous statement, and it's not at all clear what Reb Chelbo says. It doesn't sound complimentary. There are some Balei Tosfos there, and the Tosfos who interpret that to mean not be quite so negatively. But in whatever case, it does sound negative here. But our topic is not Gerim, so it says Ella, rather, Misachim Tenochos Mahi, but playing with young people, and it's in the feminine. Mahi, what are we talking about? What's that case? Okay, Misachim means play. So we say Ilem Mishkav Zochar. Perhaps we're talking about Mishkav Zohar. Maybe this is some sort of veiled reference to gay relations, to homosexual relations. Okay? And the answer is B'nei Skila Ninu. It says, no, that can't be, because these people are people who are deserving of stoning, of the death penalty. Okay, so that can't be what we're talking about here. And plus, the language is in the feminine, so it says Ella, Denisive Katanos. Rather, we're talking about somebody who marries young girls. The lav banos uvlade ninu. That they're not of the age in which they can give birth. They're not of the age that they can give birth, i.e., they're too young, prepubescent, too young to give birth. Okay, so here we have a very negative statement. We have a negative statement. So first of all, we have a negative statement of people who are mekadesh via bia. They're flogged with relations. They're flogged, even though that may be an efficacious way to marry. It still is not preferred to the point that we would flog somebody, because it is demeaning to the act of marriage. And here we have a statement saying that what these people are doing is so bad that somehow or another it is delaying the Mashiach. Okay, so not at all a positive statement about that. Okay, let's do the Sefaria translation. The rabbis taught in a Braisa, converts and those who play with little girls delay the coming of the Messiah. ... I skipped over the part about Reb Chelbo. The latter refers to those who marry and have sexual relations with girls who are too young to bear children. See, that is altogether not a positive statement. So you could look at here and say, those who marry, aren't they? But still, young girls can get married. Well, it's just a fact of Jewish law that in the ancient period and even up until the Middle Ages, girls could get married on paper. The Jewish marriage process is a two-step process. You have the legally contracting to marriage, saying that so and so and so and so have a contractual relationship with each other. They're connected to each other on paper, and this has real-world implications. So one can be married to somebody via contract and still not have had relations with people. So as this could operate as a form of adoption. In the Middle Ages, there were, also in the Roman period, there were some confiscatory laws that if a child's parents passed away, that the child would become a ward of the state, and that her estate would be ceded to the government or to the church, and that also applied to Jewish children. So better than the child being kidnapped by the church and put into an orphanage, and then having the child's estate being sucked into the church coffers. There are certain rulings that permitted the marrying of prepubescent girls on paper to save them from this fate. However, sexual relations were not allowed with the children until they had at least two hairs, signs, these tokens, these signs of puberty. Okay, we view that as being 12 years of age for girls. Okay, that's still young by today's standards, but not by ancient and medieval standards. It bears noting that there are places in the world today where marriage is allowed at that age, and certainly canon law allows marriage, openly allows marriage for children. Canon law meaning the Catholic law, based on the Justinian Code, and certain rulings by the church councils allow marriage, open marriage, as young as 7 years old, which again should be shocking to those people who are very concerned about what the Talmud says. Okay, but of course they'll never mention that. You'll sometimes see that in sort of anti-Catholic screed sites and in anti-Catholic tracts, but you almost will never see it. They cherry pick what they want to be outraged over. Whatever case, here this is not this here is not a positive statement concerning this. Okay, so let's look further now. Let's bring it down to the halacha. We have many halakhic sources, many halakhic codes, 4 main codes, or 3 main codes, yeah. But being the Torah, the Mishnah Torah, and the Shulchan Aruch being the latter of the 3 codes. So the Rambam the 2 most important are the Rambam, the Mishnah Torah, and the Shulchan Aruch. So the Rambam says in his Mishnah Torah, in the section Isur Bia, I'm sure those who have looked into various Gerus issues know this section well. In the 21st chapter, 18th halacha, he says like this: Asur lahotzi shikva zera levatel. Oh, by the way, the topic of this section is dealing with masturbation, with having ejaculating not in the proper place. So it says asur lahotzi shikva zera levatel. It's asur, forbidden, to bring out semen for no purpose. Lefichach, therefore, lo yeh adam dash bifnim v'zoreh mevachutz. Therefore, a man, whenever he's having relations with his wife, he should not. This is a euphemism. He should not thresh inside and winnow outside. In other words, what it means is that he should not have coitus interruptus, or onanism, like Onan did in Genesis. He should not bring himself to the point of climax and then remove himself in climax outside his wife. That is asur, according to the Rambam. The Rambam goes further. He says, "V'lo yiseh katana." He shouldn't marry a katana, a prepubescent girl. Why? She'ena ru'ya leilad, who is not fit to bear children. Okay, should not. So this means, so this implies that this katana might be mature. It might be fit for relations. She might be physically, her frame might be able to support having relations with an adult male. But he says, nevertheless, he shouldn't do it unless she is able to bear children. So again, the context here is spilling seed in vain. Masturbation. So this is not, again, saying that you should in any ways saying that you can go with a katana. This is saying that even if you find a katana who can safely have relations with an adult male, she still cannot become married. It is asur to have relations with her as long as she is not able to have children. Okay, so again, negative towards what we would call pedophilia does not paint the picture that the questioner wanted to paint. The translation, this is from the Chabad.org, it is forbidden to release sperm wastefully. Therefore, a person should not enter his wife and ejaculate outside of her. A man should not marry a minor who is not fit to give birth. Okay, again, this is in wedlock even. This is not just out of wedlock. The Rambam rules that all marriage outside of wedlock is forbidden. I mean, all sexual relations outside of wedlock is forbidden. In the future version, the enlarged version of this video, I should include that as well. Note to self. Okay, Shulchan Aruch. Now, Shulchan Aruch is the principal code. That is the code that is most authoritative in sort of normative orthodoxy today. That's not universal, but by and large, it is basically universal. Okay, so the Shulchan Aruch in the section called Even HaEzer 23:1, he enlarges on the language of the Rambam. So the Machaber says, Rabbi Yosef Karo says, Asur lahotzi shichazer levatala. It's asur to bring forth seed in vain. So this is basically the words of the Rambam. He goes further, V'ovon ze chomar mekol aveiro shivatorah. And this sin is more chamor, is more strict than all the other sins in the Torah. It's pretty strong words. Lefichach, therefore, lo yeh adam dash mivnim v'zoreh mevachutz. Therefore, a person should not thresh inside and winnow outside. He should not practice coitus interruptus. And he says further, v'lo yisa katan she'en ru'ei l'leilad. And he should not wed, he should not betroth a woman who is not, a girl who is not able to bear children. Okay, the Sephardi translation is prohibited to spill seed needlessly, and this sin is more severe than all Torah transgressions. For this reason, a man should not thresh inside and sprinkle his semen outside of a woman, and he should not marry a girl who is unable to have children. Again, this does not paint the picture that the questioner wanted to paint. Okay, so let's look at some narrowed down. You'll never see most of those previous comments. You'll never see sort of for the sake of balance or for the sake of fairness, you'll never see those listed in the anti-Semitic, anti-Talmud sites. You'll only see, there's a little small list of references. Perhaps if this video is well received, and after I enlarge upon this video, because this is a pretty serious charge, perhaps I will make videos answering all of those objections. Okay, so relations with a girl up to 3 years of age. So Mira, I'm separating between up to 3 years and the 3 year and 1 day categories of girls, of young girls. So Ksuvas 11b says, Amar Rabba, so this is in reference to a Mishnah that comes above on the page. So Rabba says, Amar Rabba Haki Kamar. Rabba says, this is what the Mishnah is saying. This is what the words of Rabbi Yehuda is saying. He says, Gadol haba al katana, a adult who comes upon a child, a katana, a young girl, lo klum, it is not anything. The pachos mechan kenosen etzva ba'ain dame. Because less than this, it's not like any. It's only like a person sticking his finger into the eye. That's what it's similar to. So the anti-Semites love this lo klum. It's not anything. That's what they'll quote. The relations with a girl, with a young girl, that's not anything. It's no big deal. That's what they'll quote. Or if they're a little bit more honest, they'll say, "Oh, it's like sticking a finger in the eye of the young girl." So it's maybe it's not nice. It's like sticking a finger in the eye. That's what they want to paint it as. Okay, that's not what this mission is saying at all. Okay, it's saying we'll read the whole thing, but it's like it says here that penetration of the young girl is like sticking a finger in the person's eye. V'katan haba al gadola, and a young man, young boy rather, who violates, does something not nice to an adult, mature woman. Asam mukaset. It's like being penetrated or hit with a stick. Mukaset gufa plukte rabbanan. And it's this issue of this lashon of mukaset, that category, what's going on. All these are loaded legal terms. This term mukasetz is a legal term. It itself is what Reb Meir and the rabbis are arguing about. Okay, so let's digest this. Let's look at the Sephardi translation. They added in a lot of good stuff. So Rava said that this is what the Mishnah is saying. An adult man who engaged in intercourse with a minor girl less than 3 years old has done nothing. Has intercourse with a girl less than 3 years old is tantamount to poking a finger into the eye. In the case of an eye, after a tear falls from it, another tear forms to replace it. Similarly, the ruptured hymen of the girl younger than 3 is restored. Okay, so there are commentaries that use this language. It seems to say that the hymen is restored. There are splits. Some of the commentaries see this as some sort of it grows back. I don't really think that's how it works. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert in these issues, biological issues, physiological issues, but it doesn't seem like to me that it would grow back. It seems that what it's saying here is that we engage in a legal fiction to say that the hymen is as if it grew back. We can't take away the fact that she was penetrated, but it is as if the hymen has grown back to a point that we treat it as legal fact. In fact, that is what a legal fiction is. It is something that in fact, does not exist in the world. However, for the sake of everybody involved, we treat it as if it was a material fact. Okay, so no need to... So what's going on here? The context here is dealing with the bride price, the dowry. All right, virgins have a higher dowry than non-virgins. So it's saying here that a young child that was violated in an awful way, it is nothing in regard to her. It's in regard to her status as a virgin. This whole section over here is talking about one variable in the entire scenario. Her personal status as a as a result of her being violated. This is in no way talking about the man and who he is and what he's done. This is talking about her. So it's as if nothing has been done to her. It's as if a finger was poked into her eye, which means that it is a relatively minor infraction in the eyes of the law. Regarding her personal status. This has nothing to do, this is not saying, hey, go molest young girls as long as they're under 3, because then it's nothing. That is a total misrepresentation of what this is saying. This whole section, this whole page is dealing with issues of personal status. Right, after all, this is the section of Kesuvos. Kesuvos deals with personal status, the issues of what are your rights going into a marriage, your contractual rights, your various prices you can demand, various figures you can demand in that ksuva. So it says further, and a young boy who engaged in intercourse with an adult woman renders her as one whose hymen was ruptured by wood. Okay? And with regard to the case of a woman whose hymen was ruptured by wood itself, there's a dispute between Reb Meir and the rabbis. What's the dispute? Reb Meir maintains that her marriage contract is 200 dinars, and the rabbis maintain that it is 100 dinars. So the whole question here is the amount that can be demanded inside the kesuva, inside the marriage contract. Again, not saying that anything that happened to these people, either to the adult woman or to this female child, this baby, this young girl, toddler, it is not saying that this is no big deal. It's not. It's saying that this scenario has a consequence, and the previous scenario has no consequence to her, to the child. It is as if somebody merely poked her. It is, again, not speaking to what this person has done. That is discussed and covered in other places. It is a crime. It's an awful thing what that person has done. Okay, let's look further. Now, this is narrowly, after all of that introduction, marriage of a girl of 3 years and 1 day. This is our case in Niddah 44b. Okay, so before we go on, I want to say it should be noted that the greater context of Niddah 44 is the rights of children at certain ages. So there's all kinds of scenarios listed on that page. What happens if a mother dies and during childbirth and the baby has not come out yet, and the baby comes out? Can the baby inherit the estate of the mother? What happens if somebody gets married and then gets divorced? If she's a daughter of a Kohen, can she go back to her father's house and eat from kachim, from sanctified food, or can she not? So there's all kinds of matters of rights and statuses that are going on here. Okay, not necessarily what could be done or best case scenario. This is, again, a discussion of status. And of course, Niddah itself is a discussion of status. Either a woman is a Niddah or not a Niddah. So the whole Masechta, the overarching topic of the Masechta, is the status of females at any given moment. So this is just an outgrowth of that natural discussion. So Niddah 44b, the Mishnah says over there. Again, I think I should note this for the future better version of this video. I believe this is the Mishnah 5.4 in Niddah. Mishnah says, Bas Shalosh Shanim, a daughter of a girl of 3 years, V'yom Echad, and 1 day, Miskadeshes B'viyah, can be or may be betrothed with intercourse, with sexual relations. Now, note it does say should be. We've already seen that in the Talmud it says it shouldn't be, right? So, but what happens now if this girl, we also learned that a girl before 3 years of age, if she is sexually penetrated, that she is considered to be a virgin. If she is not 3 years of age, if she is older than 3 years of age, 3 years and a day, it is considered as if she has been, her personal status is as if she has been hit with a stick. That's her personal status. There's a whole question about whether she is considered a virgin after that. Okay, but here we have the issue of somebody who doesn't just have regular intercourse with this 3-year-old. He has intercourse for the sake of marrying her, which again is something that earlier we saw is worthy of getting lashes for, because it is a kind of a gross practice, not a very dignified practice. So anyway, that is that. So this whole context over here is dealing with the issue of status and rights within that status. So the ruling is that she is married. Rashi says, Miskadeshes, im masra aviyah lekach, if the father gives her over for such, gives her over to be married, if he's giving her over to being married through this act, as monstrous as it may seem, and as many statements that as we've seen that seem to frown upon this, nevertheless, she is considered married. Now, what is the context? Why would the rabbis consider her married? She has no mind. She cannot say that she wants to be married at this point. So why would it be of value? Well, if she's not considered a virgin, then she cannot on her ksuba cannot demand a higher bride price. So her rights have been harmed. If the father gives her over, father can step in. Now, the rabbis have some choices that can be made here. They can say it's not a marriage, which there's no clear reason why you should say that. They can say that she's a virgin, but we have rules she's considered like a virgin. We have rules that seem to say that only goes up to 3 years of age. Prior statements. So the marriage does go through, and we have a concept in Western law and American law called parens patriae, that the government or the powers step in to be the parents of the child. And we can make, and by that reason, the government, the court can make certain statements about the personal status of children or step in to protect them. So, in fact, that is what's happening here. What the halacha is doing is protecting this girl. It sounds counterintuitive. She's been married against her will. But if she's not married, she's not a virgin, and and her financial well-being has been harmed. If she is married, she has full rights, full ksuba rights. The husband has to provide her food, clothing, place to live. If she's divorced, she's given a lot of money, enough to maintain her for a good while. If her husband, as awful as this may sound, if he dies, she has full rights to inherit from her husband. She can take over his estate. So here, matters of context, matters of rights, of personal status matter. So this is not talking about what should be. This is talking about what is her personal status. Her personal status is that she's married, even though she doesn't even have the brains to understand that at this point. She's married, and she has full rights as a married woman to all these financial benefits that come with being married. And that is the entire context. This is not saying, hey, everybody should go out and marry a 3-year-old or be a pedophile or anything like that. And in fact, we have statements that I showed prior that says that in fact this practice is asur, it is not forbidden, it is not favored, this is considered a bad thing. Even with 2 consenting adults who want to get married through bia, it's considered so gross that unseemly that they're to be flogged for having done that. So this is the greater context for the entire discussion. So again, the Masechta of Niddah deals with issues of status. Earlier, people might be interested, previous chapters deals with the status of a child, of a fetus inside the mother's womb. So it gets called upon in the abortion debate. If the child is stillborn, the status of the mother, is she a mourner? Is she not a mourner? If is the child considered a dead child? Is it a non-child? All sorts of issues of status. So the whole theme of Niddah is dealing with status. So here, again, not saying what should be, we're simply saying that if this scenario plays out, then this, which it should not play out because other places say it is forbidden. But nevertheless, if this scenario should play out, then the girl would have the full bundle of rights that goes along with being a married woman, meaning, as we call it in the in English common law, bed and board, meaning that she has rights to be supported, and also there would be full inheritance rights and the ability to take over the estate. Okay, so the bottom line is I say, yes, this Mishnah exists. Yes, this Mishnah says what they say it says, but it does not mean what they say it means. It is not discussing that. The Talmud, the Jewish literature as a whole, has a way of taking any given scenario and subdividing it into the variables that are taking place, the various issues at play, and then going in to the exclusion of all other issues and discussing those issues. Other legal literatures, the American legal literature is no different. It will look at the minutiae of any given scenario, and we'll do that. And when studying that, differences between murder and this and that, in American law, one could come to the conclusion, one could easily read and come to conclusions like the anti-Semites attempt to come to in reading the Talmud. All legal texts, legal literature is specialized literature, but the Talmud especially is specialized literature, and it is, even though it is in translations today, it is not still a book that is well understood. The methodology as to how it should be approached, how we learn it, and exactly what animates any given discussion in the Gemara. Okay, so I hope, we're at 46 minutes now, I hope that was somewhat beneficial. I project that a finished version might be an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. There's more sources that I wanted to include, dealing with child marriage, the issue of contractual marriage versus marriage that includes sex. I wanted to do that, but I need some time to look those up and add them in. But I could see this, even potentially this video, going as much as an hour and a half for a full discussion of the sources. Okay, I hope that was beneficial. That was Niddah 44b. I await your feedback. I appreciate you asking me to prepare this video. Call to Vatzlacha Rabba. Keep learning.